So Ben, why have you spent a lot of money on a new machine?
Well, the first thing is that we're a growing business. We sat here with a new, what is now our second cutting centre. It's 3 years old at machining centre. When we introduced that, it had a milling station on it, which was fancy because we do a lot of milling and stuff like that with sliding sash windows. So it kind of made sense that we introduced a second machine because we need the insurance policy, number one.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's we're a business that's running 24/5 on a Saturday morning, so we're working 120 hours a week at least. And there's only 168 available, so we're kind of really maximizing what we can do. So it made sense that we invest at the front end of the production process to really make sure we don't bottleneck that. Also, the other reason is because our casement window and door business is really growing, and we wanted to give them something proper to play with and get our products through that. So with these new machining centers, for example, they have a reoptimization function, which basically allows you to put offcuts on there, and it does all the work for you, uses all the offcuts.
Right.
Sounds kind of boring, but it makes a huge difference to your material margin and your material utilization. So if we can use up, instead of generating 10% waste on our profile, we can get that down to 3. That's like 7% extra on your profile. And when you're spending millions on profile, that is added value. That really
Absolutely.
does go straight to your bottom line. So putting that through, giving our casement window and door factory that machine to play with allows them to have all that. Plus, it's better, it's more accurate, it's got a milling station on it. So they get all the benefits of that machining centre. The new one that we've introduced is just a bigger and better version of what we had. So
Right.
we went double milling. So it's got 2 milling stations on it now because we do so much of this stuff. So with sash windows, we do a lot of mechanical, and every mechanical joint's got to be milled. A lot of run through horns. I think 80+% of every window, all the
Wow.
windows we make have run throughs. They've all got to be milled. And then we also went with the add on of auto reinforcing. So we've got a reinforcing station on it. So that's I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think anyone in the country has that. Or if they do, then I don't think they've got it from Sherma. So I think we're quite unique in that. But again, it makes sense because it's sliding sash windows. There's only 2 different types of steel we need, so you can really rationalize what goes on there,
Yeah.
and it just works really well. So it just speeds up the whole process. So it's not about there's not really a huge amount of labor saving from that machine. It's an insurance policy. Um, it removes some of the process, so we'll no longer have a reinforcing station in sash windows. So that was 3 people, or well, it was actually more like 5 people across 3 shifts. So we've been able to redeploy 2, and but the machining center now requires 2 people to run it all the time. Up from we were running it with 1 person per shift. So kind of 3 of the people have moved into there. 2 people have been redeployed. So there's some benefit there. But really, that's it. That's it. It's a business of our size doing the volumes we're doing, and because we run 3 shifts, obviously we sweat the assets as much as we can do. We really look after them. But yeah, that's it. It forms part of, like I said, a wider plan, a wider investment strategy. So the 1.7 million pounds the machine cost is just phase 1.
Right.
Phase 2 lands pretty much in 12 months' time, and that will revolutionise what we're doing there. Custom machines, I don't want to give anything away because it's something that is 100% unique to us,
Right.
um, that no one has. They are designed for us, so that's another £1 million worth of investment. So we're up to 2.7 then. But the result of that means that we'll be making something pretty special really, really quickly. And that's where the benefit comes from. It allows us to scale the business, but you do it through operational savings, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
and allows you to bring something to market that no one can do in volume. And for us, that's what's critical. Plus, we needed, we've got some new product innovations coming out shortly. So there's it's no secret now because it's been on at the Fit Show, but we have a slim mid rail coming out. So the guys at Spectus, Epwin have developed that with us, designed it. So we needed a machine that could accommodate that would auto reinforce it, and so on and so forth. So we've got these new products coming online as well. So yeah, I mean, there's not the machining center is because we need it, but it's half of the benefit is for our VS work. Half of the benefit is what the casement guys get out of it as well, because they upgrade to a really good machine that'll do a huge amount of processes that their current one doesn't do. It'll do it more accurately, and it'll optimize waste a lot better. So we kind of get double bubble from that, and both machines can do everything the other one can do, if that makes sense. Obviously, just one has reinforcing, one doesn't. But if we had a failure on a machine, we could just sweat one asset more than the other, and that's it really. So it makes sense. More insurance than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking it's one of a kind?
In this country, it's quite a unique machine because we've got double milling on there. I don't think in Europe, for example, where a lot of these things end up going, they have double milling. We went with double milling because that's our product, and it's part of our product strategy going forward. So that's quite unique. And then the reinforcing, that's unique for this country. But I mean, when I was over at Sherma back in April, I mean, our machine's big, I mean, really big. But when you see what they make for, the guys in Spain and Italy and, even in Germany, these super fabricators, I mean, our little thing's tiny compared to that.
Wow. And yours isn't tiny, really, in comparison for our country. What
I think it's about 36 meters long. I mean, it takes up one whole side of a factory, so it's a big old thing. But the space doesn't matter, does it? As long as you've got the space to accommodate it. But I do think it's unique in this country. But for us, with the volumes we're doing, and because we don't have a huge amount of complexity on the reinforcing side, it just makes a lot of sense, if that makes sense. We can just, 'cause it optimizes your steel as well. Yeah. So you get the benefit on the plastic and you get the benefit on the steel. So
everyone needs to save money on steel.
Well, and that's it. When you can stick a 6 meter length of steel in a machine and it goes, don't worry, I know what I'm doing with this, and it cuts it and puts it in and then screws it all in place. So you just get a piece of plastic off the end that's perfect to go into its next process. It's a step forward from where we were. And again, back to the point of innovation. Well, why just do the same thing that everyone else does, or the same thing we even did 3 years ago? It's about moving things forward. How can we do things better? What would make sense? And the thing is, with these machines, they're modular, so we can bolt things onto them. If we want the next step of the process doing, I mean, they can set them up so it goes straight off then into a welder, and then into an 8-head or a 6-head, and then corner cleaners and all sorts of stuff. So the whole top end of your production line can be automated essentially. But then you're still reliant on people after that. But yeah, I'd say it's pretty unique in this country.
But it sounds like it's justified, and it's definitely justified, and there's logic to it, which I guess makes a purchase like that less scary.
Well, yeah, I just don't think you can ever be. The thing is, I sit here from a sort of quite a lucky position, because even when we're worried about what bills we can pay and not pay, we're in a stable position. That type of investment is still frightening, because you're committing, a huge amount of the company's money into something. But it's not just that. You've actually got to make it happen, that's the big thing. The machinery suppliers play a role, but you still are hugely involved in it, in something like that, because you can't afford for it to go wrong. Did you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're still commissioning now. I think we're on week 3 of commissioning, but which is about right. I mean, they built it in 2, which was quite impressive. Yeah. But yeah, I think any investment like that is worrying. It's always worrying, because you don't know. Maybe you got to order this thing 18 months in advance.
That's the thing, yeah.
So you're
seeing into the future already.
Yeah, but you just have, you've got to have faith, haven't you? You've
Yeah.
got to have faith that it's the right thing to do. You've got to have faith in your sales plan and your marketing plan and your ability to deliver, and you know it's for the greater good. That's what we do with the company's profits. We reinvest a huge amount of it because we're here for the long term, and because we want to offer a great service. We put these things in so that if we have a failure, no one knows except us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and not everything's perfect all the time, but you ask our customers, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't have a clue if something if a machining center went down. I mean, even over Christmas through December and January, so sort of 6 weeks, we had to move a cutting center. So we had to decommission one. We had two. We had an old one and a new one, let's call it, and we've got a new one.
Yeah.
So we had to decommission the new one and move it to make space for the brand new one that's come in. But that meant we were making everything on an old cutting centre that's 15, 20 years old.
Right.
But the amount of time and planning that goes into running that machine 168 hours a week, servicing it every 3 days rather than every 3 months, just for the uptime, and then running other machines and cutting this over there and setting up milling stations. All of that happened for 6 weeks over December and the majority of January, whilst it was moved across the road, recommissioned, and then set up again. But no one knew. No one knew. Our OTIFs didn't drop. But it just cost a lot. It cost a lot in labour. It cost a lot in material because you're generating waste then that we'd normally just put through the reoptimizer. But you don't have any of that. So the cost isn't just the moving cost. It's all of the other associated costs. So it's all for the greater good, yeah? You don't measure a business's success month on month. You measure it over years and its growth pattern over time and its profitability over time and it's, how do the customers rate the business effectively? They're the things that matter. A blip a month here and there doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's about where you're going and how you're regarded.
I like that. And you've got, so strictly speaking, you've got 3 Shermers.
Got
So
3.
I heard you had to name them.
We did have to. Well, it was actually something that our technical guy came up with just off the cuff. Because what do you call them? New, old, new. I don't know. So yeah, we had a bit of on the app. We sent a survey out and let the guys name the cutting centres. So I've just concluded that now. But my suggestions didn't get taken. But there were some funny ones that we ended up with in the end. So yeah, now they've all got names.
So you've got the, are you able to
Well,
share those
yeah, I
names?
think the brand new one, the big one I think he's called the Shermanator.
I like that.
So I liked that as well. It was really funny. Then I think we've got the other one is called RoboChop,
Nice.
which I thought was really funny. And I can't remember what the other one's called. I think they called it Bob.
Bob, I heard it was Bob, yeah.
I mean, but
I
yeah,
heard Bob and Sir Bob.
yeah. So
like that.
yeah, but at least we've got distinct. It kind of reflects their personalities. So
Yeah, I like it.
yeah, good fun.
Brilliant.
Mm.
So Ben, well, thank you, Ben. Thank you for your insight into your new machinery and all the best with your manufacturing process.
Appreciate it. We'll have you back here in a year's time when the new stuff arrives.
Can't
We'll
wait.
share some secrets with you.
Can't wait. Brilliant. Thanks, Ben.